Hey everyone, you're listening to SMUBE Campus Radio Say What You Wanna Say. I'm Roshni, your host for today, and on today's edition of Music in the Making, we have our very own local singer-songwriter whose pop music will tug at your heartstrings and soothe your weary souls away. Please give it up for Umar Sirhan.
Hey, hello. Hi everybody. Thank you for having me. Very happy to be here today.
As a fun fact for our audience to get to know you better, could you share how you very first got into music?
I actually started out singing in a choir when I was really young. So that was like my earliest memory of proper musical experience. I started singing in a choir when I was in primary 1. And I sang with the choir up to like, I would say, I think secondary school. And I think when I was in Sec 2, that was when I picked up the guitar and a bit of keyboard. And then I discovered John Mayer, and I think the rest was history. I was super like enamored with the whole like guitar playing and singing thing. And I was just like, Mom, I don't want to sing in a choir anymore. This is what I want to do. So yeah, I haven't looked back since. And yeah.
Wow, so that's so impressive. Like you taught yourself the guitar and everything. Yeah. Wow. So what is that one thing that really keeps you driven towards your passion in music?
I was just looking back at some old videos of me singing and playing music, I think from maybe like 3-4 years back, and then you don't really realize how far you've come in terms of like your technical skill. And like I mean, like I wouldn't say like I got like a lot better, but like you hear the difference, and then you look back at the gigs that you played in previous years, and you kind of see how far you come, and you remind yourself like, hey, I've still got like a long way to go, and there's so much more to see, so many more like people to collaborate with, so much more music to make, songs that have yet to be written but are still somewhere in just floating around in my mind somewhere. I think that's what really excites me, the mystery of not knowing what you'll be able to come up with.
That's cool. Very profound, but it's okay. You can show off here. You can tell us that, yeah, I've made great improvement from 3 years ago. So share with us your most memorable experience in your music journey so far.
Off the top of my head, this was August or September last year. It was this moment of full circle. So the story is, I was in Charlie Lim's studio recording a song because he was vocal producing Feel. He was working on it with me as a vocal producer, and I think I was just there in the vocal booth, and I just looked to where he was sitting, and I was like, yo, this is like a moment of full circle. Because back when I was in poly, like year 1, year 2, I discovered Charlie Lim, and I was obsessed with his music. I would watch all the interview videos of him on YouTube, and I was like, yo, this is who I aspire to be.
It was one of those moments where you were just like starstruck, like you couldn't believe that you were in his studio. Yeah. And so you mentioned one of your new releases, Feel. I'm sure the audience watching would love to know more about it. It was streamed on SoundCloud many years ago. So when did you decide to have an official release for the song?
I think I always had like a release in mind for this song, but 4 or 5 years ago, which was when I kind of wrote the song and put it up on SoundCloud, I didn't really know how to go about with, I guess, like a proper release. And I always kind of like put it aside because I was like, oh, I want to make it better. I don't want to release it like at this point. But I think I would say about a year and a half ago, when I sat down and rearranged and added new instrumentations and really like reimagined the song, I had a moment of like, okay, you know what, it's like time to release this song. Yeah, I'm glad I waited, and I'm glad that it's finally out now.
No regrets, right? No regrets. And you mentioned that you got to collaborate with Charlie Lim. So could you tell us a bit more about that collaboration and how that was for you?
I'm always starstruck in the presence of Charlie Lim, and getting to actually work with him in the studio to co-produce was next level. He's insane. He's super good like when it comes to producing like melodies and harmonies for the songs, and I think the arrangement of the vocals in that song like speak for itself. So yeah, it was like a full circle moment for me having Charlie work on the song together with me, and it was just great to have another creative mind be part of the process. Yeah, and what more, Charlie?
Speaking of Feel, you've actually prepared a recorded performance of it for all of you watching. But before we get into that, I'd like to know, what are some messages you'd like to convey with the song?
Feel is a song about missing someone. That's kind of like the big message. It's an expression of that feeling, whether it be missing someone that's been away from you for a long time or you haven't seen them, or just kind of lying in bed and wishing they were there with you. It's kind of just like a love letter to that feeling, to comfort anyone out there who's kind of missing somebody or really longing for that someone to be with them. I think more than anything, it's like an expression of that feeling, and I think if anyone is able to feel that, no pun intended, when they listen to the song, the message would have been successfully conveyed.
Oh, it couldn't get more wholesome than that, could it? Could you also share with us the writing process behind this track?
So I co-produced this with another artist and a very good friend of mine as well. His name is Hashir. We were just sitting in his room and we were very young and excited, aspiring producers, and we were like, hey, let's write a cool R&B song. Like, we always play and perform like, folk songs and a bit more like the ambient rock stuff. And at the time I was just starting to get into a lot more like the R&B type of music, and we were like, hey, let's try to write like a, one of those like typical like R&B songs. The further we got into that process, the more we connected with the idea of whatever we were trying to say in the song. And it was a very fun process seeing the song evolve over time.
Now this is Umar Sirhan with Feel.
Daylight is long gone, I'm here in the twilight zone. Infatuation was creeping on me when I'm all alone. It's a little quiet, come and play me a melody. Your body's a temple and this time I pray, so pray with me. And I just need your body close to me. Baby, that's the way that it's supposed to be. And why don't you come over, baby, it's free. Baby, I can't sleep, 'cause I just gotta feel it. Stay on the line, I just wanna feel you near. 'Cause my bed and my heart, you know that it's empty when you're not here. There's a little fire in my soul, can you see it from where you are? At the end of the night, we're under the same old stars. And I just need your body close to me. No, no, no. Baby, that's the way that it's supposed to be. Oh, and why don't you come over, baby, it's free. Baby, I can't sleep, 'cause I just gotta feel it. And girl, I just wish that I could hear just a couple of the numbers to be near. Just gotta feel it, baby. Just gotta feel. Just gotta feel you, babe. Just gotta feel. Just gotta feel you. Oh, I just gotta feel you, babe. Just gotta feel you, babe. Oh, and I just gotta feel. Baby, I can't sleep, 'cause I just gotta feel you. And why don't you come over, babe, it's free. No, no, baby, I can't sleep, 'cause I just gotta feel you. Feel you. Feel you, babe. Oh.
Wow, that was an incredible performance by the one and only Umar Sirhan. And now, to take a quick break from the questions, let's play a quick game of rapid fire this or that. So I'll be saying two options, for example, vanilla or chocolate. And without thinking much, you have to pick one of the options.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, let's start. Would you rather be able to fly or have super strength?
Fly.
Okay. A night out or a night in?
In.
Would you rather travel to the past or the future?
Future.
Mornings or evenings?
Evenings.
R&B or hip hop?
R&B.
Salty or sweet popcorn?
Salty.
Would you never be able to listen to your favorite artist again or have to listen to a song you really don't like every single day?
Oh my gosh. Never listen to my favorite artist again.
Wow, okay. The Great Singaporean Debate, steamed or roasted chicken rice?
Ooh, steamed.
Okay, there we have it. Rapid fire round, this or that. And now back to the questions. Who would you say have been your greatest musical influences?
At the top of my list would be John Mayer. I think just as a musician, he is, in my opinion, I think one of the most talented musicians out there. He produces, he plays the guitar, he writes amazing songs. I think that's one of my favorite aspects about John Mayer. His songwriting is really, really good. And I think that's what really drew me to his music in the first place. He writes stories and he turns 30-second feeling into a 3-minute song, and that song kind of becomes a part of your life. And over the years, as he kept on releasing music, I never found myself feeling oh, you know what, isn't really my cup of tea, or I don't really understand this. What I'm trying to say is you've grown so accustomed to listening to him and it just becomes an anchor.
So I guess you could say that you feel very connected to his music, and it definitely evokes some sort of feeling or emotion every time you listen to him.
Definitely.
So similarly, what are some feelings or emotions you hope your music can evoke in its listeners?
One of the most special things about music is when you can relate to the message that's being conveyed, and I feel whatever songs that I release can be related to by whoever's listening to it. And I always try, in the sense of the production style of the song, try to create a soundscape that takes you to another place and really helps you to connect with whatever you're feeling and make peace with what you're going through.
And now for your most recent release, Maybe, you collaborated with aeriqah, another incredible Singapore-based artist with an indie folk music influence. So what was that like, working on a song together with an artist with a different music style from your own?
So a bit of a fun fact, I actually started out my singing and songwriting journey writing a lot of folk songs. So, the likes of Damien Rice, Bon Iver. So it wasn't something that was foreign to me, and folk music always has a place in my heart. And the collaboration came very naturally, both in terms of the creative process and singing with aeriqah. Her voice is super good and she's an amazing songwriter. And it was just really easy to work on that together. It wasn't a stark difference in terms of music style, because I have that experience with folk music.
So can we expect some folk music from you anytime soon?
That would be cool. Maybe not so soon, but I would love to release folk music.
Okay. So this might be a bit of a hard one, but do you have a favorite song from what you've released? And if so, why is it a favorite?
I would say If is so far my favorite for a few reasons. The first of which being the fact that in terms of the mix, that's the song I'm most proud of so far, because I do mix and master my own songs. When I finished mixing that song, I was really happy with the way it turned out. Learning all these things, how to mix and how to record things properly, really paid off. So yeah, that's something I'm really proud of. And one thing I like about the release of that song is that song just started out as a post on Instagram that I did during circuit breaker. I was going through something, I wrote that song, helped myself get through a certain time, and that song is kind of known among the people I know as the Instagram song. My friends are hey, can you play that Instagram song? I'm what? That's my favorite one so far. I'm sure I'll change my favorites over time, but for now, If is my favorite.
Yeah. And for those of you watching, you're very lucky because we have a recorded performance of If coming up very shortly. And if you could be the greatest musician, one of the greatest musicians of all time, who will it be and why?
I want to say John Mayer, but that's so fanboy-y. I mean, I'll choose 3 different artists and say what skill of theirs I would like to have. Probably John Mayer for songwriting, Frank Ocean for his voice, Charlie Lim for the production skill and just being overall super cool guy.
Yay, we've got some local representation in there. Before we wrap up today's interview, do you have any parting words or advice you'd like to give to people who want to follow their passion and, how they can do that?
I would say stay grounded but stay inspired. Show up for yourself, show up for your craft. And that's something I'm still learning actively to this day, is really having the discipline to do something even if you don't really feel like doing it, because I think the consistency of whatever project or any passion that you have that will really propel you forward and help you stay inspired in the long run is an active effort. And yeah, just don't stop chasing your dreams.
Thank you. I really like that. Stay grounded and stay inspired. Yeah. And unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and so must this interview. But Umar has prepared a recorded performance of If. And before we get into that, could you tell us a little bit more about this song?
So If is a slow R&B inspired song that speaks about the uncertainties in life. And life is a cycle, and people come and go, and that's okay. So yeah, that's what the song is about, and hope you guys enjoy.
And now we have If by Umar Sirhan.
If I turned to soil, would you be a flower to decorate this chest of mine? If I were a poem, would you be the rhyme to a song I wrote about time? And if you were the moon, then I'd be the ocean. You'd hold on to me, we're swinging in motion. Oh. Ooh. If I was the sun, would you be a planet? We'd spin like a merry-go-round. If you were a star, then I'd be the night. I'd stay up with you till morning light. And if you were the moon, then I'd be the ocean. You'd hold on to me, we're swinging in motion. Oh. But I'm not a song of the moon or the sun, though I give you some laughter, some tears and some fun, till the day is done. The lights turning down, there's none left to borrow. At the same time in the same place, I'll see you tomorrow.